1340 KVGC. Douglas Viviani is on the phone with me of Everything Old is New Again. You can hear him along with David Cohen every Saturday night, 6 o'clock here on 1340 KVGC. Douglas, how was your week?
Good morning, Jim. My week is, I'm in disarray over here. We're having the hardwood floors done, polyurethane and all that stuff, and they've disconnected my TV connection. So coincidentally, I ordered a copy of the Lost in Space series, the 50th anniversary DVD collection on. And I sort of did that I have a 6-year-old, as I've been saying before, and sort of did that to watch with her a little bit, maybe a year from now or something like that. And since the TV's out, it's been Lost in Space mania around the house for the last week. I don't even know why. It's like one of those things. It's an odd fascination. Did you ever? I don't get the vibe that you were really a Lost in Space guy at any point.
See, I mean, the closest I got to Lost in Space was, Danger, Will Robinson, walking around school saying that with all the other kids. But I bet you Leo's walking around the house doing that, huh? Yeah. Danger, Will Robinson, flapping his arms.
Fascinated. It's definitely, when I watched that, when I saw it, I was a kid too, maybe I was 7, 8, 9. And it captures the fascination of a child. It's also, as a man myself, or a child boy, what do they call that when you're grown up?
Child.
You haven't grown up.
A man child.
I went to conventions in my umpteen years ago, and I saw the actor Jonathan Harris at conventions, and he used to speak. And if you remember this Dr. Smith character, honestly, it's hard to take as an adult, the show with him running around and crying and all this stuff. But believe it or not, he was a fascinating individual. He described how he was the person that came up with all those names that he would call the robot, and every show he had another name for this robot, and that was part of the fascination. He also created that character where he was supposed to be on the show maybe only 2 or 3 episodes, and it turns out he was on the show as the special guest star for the entire run. He became a hit character, and I'll tell you, his ego, it was so fascinating, was more or stronger than the ego of Dr. Smith on the show, which is pretty but in a fun way. The guy, you got to admire him in some way. I sort of analogize him to one of these, like, I don't know if you remember Howard Cosell and how you would listen to him and sort of hate him but kind of like him, love to hate kind of a thing. So, I don't know. The kids are running around. They love Dr. Smith and the robot. And I
have two things about Lost in Space. My wife was an avid Lost in Space fan. Her and her family watched it, and she can sit here and talk to you and talk with the best of them. Okay? The next thing is there's not one grown man in America that cannot go into a large do-it-yourselfer store. I don't care. We have Lowe's and Home Depot here in California. Cannot go in and then go by the dryer hose and not grab the dryer hose and start going, danger, danger, Will Robinson, with the... You know what I'm talking about?
I sure do.
So there's not one grown man that won't do that. Hey, you know what I've been doing the last couple of days, and this has nothing to do with Everything Old is New Again, but sort of with your part of the world. I'm Catholic. I'm not, holy roller Catholic, but I've been watching the Pope. Is that a big thing over there?
Is that also like a fascination, like Lost in Space? One of those things.
Sort of. I started,
but you don't know why. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
I'm also Roman Catholic. I do watch it. I find it extremely enlightening. The only thing is when he speaks and he tries to speak English, it's like his 15th language, which is so wonderful. But I don't know. To me, it doesn't translate. It's hard to listen to. He doesn't sound like the intelligent, spiritual individual that he certainly is. I prefer, it sounds weird to maybe, but I prefer it to be through a translator, and we'd have a better message. Not same message, but a better presentation. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I was watching it, again, I've been watching it the last 2 days. I discovered this network. It's the EWTN network, and it's a Catholic network. And again, I kind of felt, how you're just clicking across the TV and you go, where's this come from?
Right.
And
right.
And so his speech is very metered like, and it has a certain cadence, and it's almost, but I was listening to him at the cathedral yesterday, and he was giving his homily was all in Spanish, and there was an interpreter, and then afterwards he was speaking English, and it is sort of hard to understand him, so.
Yeah, and it's a shame for us as Americans. You get by it, and the message, the actions of whatever he's saying politically, I sort of don't love the idea that he gets into that. But whatever he says, he meets with all the people, and it's like the impression. The actions speak louder than words. The ability to smile and accept and be peaceful with Republicans, Democrats, smile and that brotherhood more than anything else he says to me. And even in my religion, that create, love your neighbor. To me, that is the most important thing, and I love the fact that I think that's what's presented wherever he goes.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Well, have you enjoyed the new TV season yet?
I have. And I again, on the idea of watching something and that you're kind of questioning yourself a little bit as to why, I'm enthralled with the new Muppet Show. I don't know, have you had a chance to
I tell you, again, Teresa I can't wait to watch the Muppet Show. We got to watch the Muppet Show. And she's a big Dancing with the Stars fan. So, that Tom Bergeron was on, I guess, the first episode of the Muppets. So I said, okay. So, and I'm not a big Dancing with the Stars fan either, right. But this season I said, I'm going to watch it with my wife and see. So I suffered through it. And then the Muppet Show came on, and I was like, oh, God, this is got to be. And I liked it, but I'm ashamed to say I liked it. I liked it. I'm ashamed.
It reminds me of Alf. I'm going back now.
Yeah.
Again, another one of these animated, well, that's not a puppet kind of show, and you just can't turn it off,
Yeah.
But they're doing it sort of like, it's only been one episode, it's sort of like a Seinfeld where they're acknowledging who they are, and they're just showing the behind-the-scenes lives, in theory, of these Muppets as if they're alive, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of fun.
I know, but...
that's, it's right for a show, which we'll definitely be doing down the line on looking at what's up with the Muppets and where did they come from. They were from Sesame Street, and now they're on adult TV. What an evolution! And they survived the death of Jim Henson, and his son is carrying forward with it. And I just think it's fascinating. It's one of those things.
Did Frank Oz pass away too?
No, he's still around.
Okay.
Good question. Pretty sure he's still around. I think he just did or is involved with doing the Yoda character on on Star Wars. He definitely was in the last section of movies. Set of movies.
Okay. So well, here on our side of the country, you've got the Pope on your side. We've got the Butte Fire on our side. Thankfully, it's in the 90 percentile now. We should have another report later on this morning on containment. They're hoping for full containment by the 31st, and the fire is out, but full containment means they can guarantee there won't be any hot spots that will, go over the burn lines to areas that haven't been burned. And the fire hasn't grown any for a little less than a week, but still 70,000 plus acres. That's in the county to the south of us, the home of the jumping frog, has suffered. Greatly over 500, plus homes in Calaveras County. So.
I've looked up on the computer. I've been trying to see what, if anything, you could do. You always see your fellow person in need there. We talk about the Pope, in that message, and I was looking along those lines to see what's happening with that. And there's a TTEE Spring SPRING.com, and if you're probably familiar, it's got a shirt that it's for sale, and all the money goes to the Disaster Relief Fund for the fire. And the shirt basically says, "We may be burnt, but we are still beautiful."
Still beautiful, right?
So I guess I don't know if that's a fascination, if that that's caught on over there, if everybody's aware of that, if I'm saying something everyone knows or not. But we went ahead and purchased a number of those, and just to try to do something, And
really great, thank you.
We're going to spread the word on the show. As you know, we're on a number of stations, so we're in addition going to spread the word, and maybe we'll have a few people go ahead and try to help by spreading these T-shirts around. Hopefully that will.
Thank you very much for that.
It's a great thing.
Well, what's up for this week's show?
Oh, this week we are taking a look at boxing, and
is there such a thing anymore as boxing?
That's a good question. I mean, that is the question. What happened to this sport? Used to be Muhammad. We all know the names: Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta and all through the years from the 50s to Tyson, to Mike Tyson. But it's almost like once Mike Tyson bit off Holyfield's ear back, I guess that was the early 90s, it's been, that's coincidental, but downhill from there. We used to have U.S. boxing, used to be so, in the Olympics, used to be so important. We'd win gold medals left and right. There was a Golden Gloves, that would be like an amateurs, and that's not even in existence anymore. I think the UFC has a lot to do with it as well. I don't know if you've seen seen that. So they've taken over. But they're odd to me because their champions don't last all that long, so they're not really at the tip of your tongue for too long. But I guess it's the sport itself that people just love.
Well, if you take a knee to the face, every night in the ring, you wouldn't last very long either. So
exactly. But how do you become a fan? You must become. In other words, a lot of times you become fans of the boxer.
Yeah.
Here in the UFC, it's pretty much just becoming a fan of the sport because you're not following the boxers too long. It just kind of reminds me. I see the UFC and I see all the spats between the parties beforehand and the down and dirty. It's sort of like Sunday night dinner at my house. I want to build an amphitheater around my kitchen. I just to watch. Basically, I'll cook the dinner and I'll have my wife, and the laundry room's right next to the kitchen, and the dinner's on the table. And so the first event starts where I try to plead and beg with her to get over to the table to eat dinner, and that takes forever. And once we do that, Angelica's all of a sudden there's a song on the radio, and she gets up and she wants to dance, so she spills the milk, of course, when she's doing that. Who do you think has to clean that up? And then Leo's over at a small little table. He doesn't want to sit at the regular table, but he sits at his little kid's table. He won't drink his milk until he has his little Captain America figurine. Guess who has to run upstairs to the bedroom to get the figurine so he can drink his milk? This goes on, and I think I'm going to present some of that on this show, and it'll be fun because I can feel the rant building up as we speak.
Getting back to the show for a minute, have you done a show on wrestling?
Haven't, and I can't wait to. There's a fellow that wrote a book on wrestling that I think we've reached out to that we're going to, it's an anthology kind of book, and we're going to have him on as a, quote, expert, although I feel that I'm in that game as well, because I don't know about you, but from WrestleMania forward, I've been a big fan, maybe a little bit less now, but during the heyday with Hulk Hogan and all that, I was a big fan. How about you?
Oh, yeah, especially with my oldest son, JD. We would watch it all. We would go. We would go to. We weren't WCW fans very much. We were WWF at that time, not WWE fans. And we would go. Oh yeah, we would actually go to see them at Arco Arena and watch them. Whenever we had a chance on TV. And So anyway, enough of that. Enough of that. Boxing this Saturday night. Everything old is new again. 6:00 right here on 1340. KVGC. So are you and David going to put on the gloves, go a couple of rounds? Or
verbally, we may spar a bit about, which is the best boxing movie, and also, I don't know, one of us might still be a boxing fan and have some hope for it, and we'll see if we can kind of drag it into the 21st century and give some suggestions as to why and what we need to do to get this thing up and running. Or should we just leave it where we're going to have an amphitheater and some homes Sunday nights and watch the Sunday night fights? More reality TV, we'll call that boxing.
There we go. Douglas Viviani, thank you very much, and we'll look forward to Saturday night at 6:00 here on KVGC.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks again. Enjoy the week.